These are the turn-counting dice. One die for each turn. Brandywine starts on turn 4 and runs through turn 8. It's mid-afternoon. Nefassan is demonstrating along the Brandywine. Greene and Washington are keeping a careful eye on him. Cornwallis is coming in from the north and has encountered Sullivan's troops over here, and they have been executing a fighting withdrawal. Let us just see how long they can hold. Henry Knox's artillery opens up on the British artillery, disrupting it. Sullivan continues falling back, keeping his line together, and there's a cavalry confrontation on the Continental right. Pulaski's dragoons succeed in driving back and confusing the British left flank, but in the effort they are completely expended. Over here I'll place the casualties. It's late afternoon. Nefassan has unpacked his bags and recovered his artillery. Greene has dispatched Wayne to occupy Birmingham Hill. Nefassan's reorganized artillery opens up and disrupts Henry Knox's troops. It's late afternoon and Sullivan makes a stand to the north side of Street Road. Although not without cost, the British attack has been frustrated. Nefassan's artillery opens up again and drives Knox's artillery from the hill. On Nefassan's left, he sends troops across the bridge to attack the Continentals from the side. Sullivan's line continues to fall back, but with night soon approaching, he gains confidence and unpacks his bags. He's gonna hold here. Without a rest, Cornwallis drives forward. Greene shows up in the nick of time to restore the situation and initiates a flank attack. Washington redistributes his defenses around Chadd's Ford and sends Nash's North Carolinians east to guard the flanks. In a stunning reversal, the line staggers but holds at the cost of the two finest British units on the continent, Abercrombie's Light and Matthew's Household Guard. There is time for one last drive before dark. Will Howe be able to pull it off? The day's final battles. The day ends. Another British unit is consumed in the battle. The British do not control any route that they need to control. The British have lost their two finest units in the theater. The score is 17 points to 10 points. This is a resounding American victory. This will play heavily in the Brandywine Campaign because the next battle at Germantown will be heavily affected by the results of this battle. Good game. Here we are at Germantown. We're playing the campaign game. So as of the previous Brandywine battle, the British have lost and do not have for this scenario the Grenadiers or von Donop's Hessians. That means the British will receive no reinforcements. The Continental Army lost its cavalry and one brigade of militia. The cavalry does not appear in this scenario, and the militia was recovered. One could imagine that with the success at Brandywine, basically the stalemate, militia recruitment was enhanced. Therefore, the Continental Army is at full strength. Let us begin. Now remember, on the first day, if this runs into two days, on the first day, there's heavy fog. Visibility is cut down to 1/3, and this means there's no bombardment this day. Armstrong comes down the Chestnut Hill Road. Greene comes down the Limekiln Road, intent on a flanking maneuver, but runs into a British detachment. He does have time to shake out into line, and this he does. In similar fashion, Sullivan stops short of Germantown. Howe defends the Germantown pike. As a precaution, he sends the Hessians down to watch the crossing of the Schuylkill River, and his forward detachments on the right close ranks and refuse their flanks. Washington backs up Sullivan, and Smallwood extends Greene's flanks. Sullivan begins the attack on Cliveden. Washington holds his troops in reserve. Howe's Hessians send a detachment across the river for surprise engagement in the woods. He secures his line on the hills in the center, yet the detachments fall back, and his dragoons are watching on the flanks. Armstrong's militia advance up the road, but they're stopped short by British presence in the woods. And Greene's troops lock horns with the detachments. Detachments take some damage, combine, and fall back. Abercrombie's troops are finally chased from Shoe House. Armstrong prepares to assault the troops in the woods. Howe secures his line. Greene extends a line, and the Continental line begins forming. Nefassan has arrived with the baggage and assesses the situation. Washington spends time dressing his line. extending his left flank further to the woods, and Howe keeps refusing the opposite. Howe is content to wait here until the Americans surrender. Washington, facing the best troops in the world, wants to make sure he has all his ducks in a row before he attacks. Howe pulls his right back across Frankfort Creek, which can only be crossed at the bridges. Smallwood's troops infest the woods north of Frankfort Creek. Armstrong's militia tests the troops across the Wissahickon. And finally, like a torrent, the Continental Army strikes. Heavy fighting in the woods as Armstrong's militia falls back, and the British detachment joins the rest of the Hessians. The British line falters and falls back. They're down, but not out. It's late afternoon. Washington sends desperately needed supplies forward. Smallwood's troops cross Frankfort Creek at the Eastern Bridge. The Continental Army keeps the pressure on the British line. Nefausen sends supplies to his troops on the left side of the British line. Cornwallis arrives, and he and Howe discuss the situation. Cornwallis also advises unpacking the bags and supplying the troops on the line. It has to hold here. Armstrong's militia occupies the woods, but they don't dare try forcing a crossing against an equal number of Hessians, hated as they are. British fall back to new positions to hold, and those positions are contested on either flank. On the left, the Americans blast a hole in the British line. On the other side, the British troops fall back to the guard, and they drive back Greene's troops. Alright, here we are for a very intense ending. After the hole in the British line that was created on the left, the British had nothing left over here. Nefausen had to bring the Hessians up to cover the extreme left flank, which allowed Smallwood to cross. Now all that is protecting the bags at this point is a small detachment of grenadiers that was originally in Chew House. The Continentals are closing in. It looks like the end, but the British still have Matthews, the elite British. The Hessians are driven back into the militia and are lost. And finally, Lord Stirling's Jersey Boys eliminate Grant's brigade. At this point, the British have 3 infantry blocks left in the fight. They have lost 4, putting them over 50% and breaking the British Army. Good game.